you know, that happens sometimes.
This week on Duffy Woodcraft, we're doing a special unboxing of the 10.1-inch pendant upgrade kit from NextWave, along with the new vacuum pods, the 6x6 and the 6x12-inch. Stay tuned as we put these to the test with a couple of different projects. The original controller that comes with the NextWave's Shark HD series CNCs is a great little pendant. It offers a color touchscreen and is very beginner friendly. As I was getting started my CNC journey, it was a great option for me to learn on. Though as I continue to grow, I did have a few complaints compared to other controllers on the market. 1. There was no preview of the file you were about to run. 2. If I had to stop the file for some reason during the cutout process, there was no way to restart it from a certain line. And lastly, the mounting options for the screen weren't the greatest for my setup. I often would end up taking it off the mount and holding it and using it by hand. Recently, NextWave released their new HD544, which offers a 10-inch touchscreen kit. And when I saw that they had an upgrade kit for the existing HD models, I knew that I had to get my hands on this unit.
Okay, so let's open the box. Now, the box is open already, as you can see. My wife thought it was a Christmas thing that she had ordered, so she went ahead and opened it, but I haven't looked inside the box yet, so let's go ahead and open. Okay. Box on top. This is the pendant, and it says, attention customer, please update the firmware on your control box to the latest firmware to ensure that your pendant operates as instructed, and it gives the link to go to that along with an article. So we'll open that in a second. Yeah, instruction book. I love NextWave's instruction books. They are so phenomenal. QR codes on the front for videos and everything, but everything is in color. It's step by step. They really do a phenomenal job when it comes to those. Let's see, that was my order summary. And the arm that goes with it. So, desk is wheeling away here. Nice. Oh, that is hefty. I didn't think it was going to be that big. Nice. Oh, I like it. It's got some Wi-Fi antenna on the back, mounting hardware. Let's see, Wi-Fi, and then it's got an Ethernet port, power button, and then 2 USB ports on the back as well. Still got the plastic on it. I'm not going to peel that yet. This is cool. The case that this is in, this little attachment bit, is 3D printed. They did a great job on it. It looks phenomenal, and it's even got a little shark bit into the side, so that's really cool.
Nothing else comes in the box, and I'm just reading some instructions to see what I need to do next.
Anybody else keep all the Allen keys? It's like I put them in a drawer, and it's like a trophy for the, I completed building this, so I must keep this Allen key for my trophy. I hoard them all.
I'm not going to bore you with all of my commentary while I build this arm, but it's just easy step-by-step instructions that are very clear to put together.
Like that, and then attach a screw, which we'll do after we get the other one taken apart and the arm connected to the table. So let's go do that.
To get this all set up, I went ahead and removed the dust collection. I removed the original pendant. I took off the mounting, and next I put on the arm. It's just an easy clamp right to my table, so it was super simple to put that on. You do some adjustments with the Allen keys to make sure that it's nice and tight for moving the arm back and around. And then I just slide the pendant on and put on the tightening screw. And finally, it's simply just routing the cable from the original control box up to the new pendant and plugging it in and turning it on.
Okay, so this is what I thought I would end up having to do, but I wanted to see what it would do. It says my controller firmware is out of date. This pendant will not operate correctly as a result. Please update your firmware. So we need to go ahead and update the firmware. So I'm going to go grab my computer and we'll get this going.
Updating the firmware on the CNC is extremely easy. You just have to download the Ready to Update program from NextWave Support's website, and it walks you through the step-by-step process on your machine. You just need to make sure that your spindle is disconnected while you install the new firmware. It then reboots the tablet, and it's all done. Then you can reconnect your spindle, and you're ready to go.
All right, there we go. That was super painless. As you saw, it took me about 20 minutes all in all to unbox, set up, and get it running, even with the firmware update. This is something anyone can do. It's super simple. So I'm gonna run some programs and let's test it out and see how it works.
I went ahead and created a file that I'm going to run on the CNC and exported it out onto a thumb drive. So now I'm plugging that thumb drive into the tablet, and as you'll see, a file manager application pops up. Now this Pendant is Android operated, so this is an Android app that is how you manage your files. The problem was I couldn't figure out how to get back to the Next Wave controller software from this screen once it had popped up. There wasn't a way to pop up a menu or move it over. So I don't know if I just couldn't find it or if it was in a different screen, but I ended up just powering off the CNC and repowering it on, and that brought up the software the way it should. Now, I did find in the settings how to turn off the file manager from popping up when a USB shows up. Mine appears to be a one-off issue, as I did talk to Next Wave, and they said that it's normally disabled during production and they're reviewing it with the team. I also found a setting that allows you to accelerate the machine to mimic the 544 acceleration speed, so let's show you how to turn that on. From the home screen, go ahead and click the settings button and then click Control. From there at the top, you'll see increase acceleration. Go ahead and click on the slider so it says on, and then back out to go back to the home screen, and it's ready to use. Using the Pendant is very intuitive. If you don't run through the manual, all the buttons have clear names or icons that make sense, and it's easy to use. I do recommend going through the manual, but if you want to learn on the go, it's very simple and very user-friendly. Stay tuned to the end of the video for my final thoughts on the Pendant after I've used it for a few weeks during some different projects. So now let's head on over to unbox the new vacuum pods. In full disclosure for this review video, I did purchase the Pendant on my own. However, the vacuum pods were sent over by my friends at Next Wave for me to test out.
Look, it's a box in a box. All right, so I've got 2 boxes here and the rest is packing material. All right, so we're gonna have the 6x6 and the 6x12. Oh, cool. All right, so the 6x6, this comes with the vacuum tube. Here is the vacuum pod system, so the little 6x6 guy. It looks like I've got all the T-nuts and the Y-clamp needed, along with a little card with the step-by-step instructions, QR code to scan for setup. Okay. What's nice about these is it's made from a HDPE material, so it's nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. Really nice rubber gasket. Love the logo on it. Yeah, this is nice. This is going to be great for holding small pieces while I do like V-carves or anything super simple like that. That's going to be phenomenal. It's going to allow it to not move around, not have to use a ton of clamps. One of my biggest complaints is always just trying to figure out the clamping scenario. Double-sided tape, works well, but it's sticky and it's a mess and it's another expense. I don't like using clamps because I'm not perfect. I often run into them with the bit and I can break the bit and dull it or, obviously break the clamp itself. So it's, is what it is. So I've been really excited looking for a vacuum solution, and I'm super excited that the guys over at Next Wave hooked me up with this system. Here is the 6x12, so a little bit bigger, so more stable on the largers. I like that. I didn't miss this on both of them. They have, this must be that's the air valve, so it presses in and it opens up the suctions. That's cool. And this has 2 valves on it. Again, that card, the Y-clamp, and then the T-nuts. Now, the one thing that this system, Next Wave, does not include a vacuum pump, so I did have to purchase a vacuum pump. I've actually already had one for my resin projects, so I'm just going to hook that one up. Let's get this hooked up on the CNC.
The first thing you need to do is put the screws through the pre-threaded holes and then screw on the T-nuts. Then you can slide it in onto the T-track so that it holds down onto the bed. Then you'll just need a simple screwdriver to tighten those so that it won't move around.
So you'll notice that these right here need to be connected, and that's partly what this is for. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these. There we go. And now that's connected, ready to be hooked up to the pump. Which... Okay, so let's turn on the pump. And I saw that it immediately sucked down there, but... Man, that is not going anywhere. That's nice.
I'm cutting out a simple V-carve that will be the backing of a bit holder that I'm making, and it is locked in place. You can really see in the high speed here that the plate doesn't move whatsoever, and the wood stays securely fastened to it.
Okay, so the suction just slowly released on its own. I didn't have to do anything. Well, I've got the carve there. I'm gonna go paint this and get it ready, but man, how cool.
I did a couple more projects with some different woods to test out its holding ability, including one that was a much larger that overlapped over the 12 inches, and it didn't move whatsoever. It held it right in place. This is a really great holding solution. I then went ahead and switched over to the 6x6, putting in its T-nuts and sliding it into the T-track and then tightening it down so I could test out some smaller pieces. And again, it did a great job holding down everything I put on it. So let's test it a little bit more.
Science. The best part of getting to test new products is stress test them, and I have a lot of fun doing that. If you've seen other reviews of vacuum solutions in the past, for example, Hamilton's about the air weights, you may have seen this done before, which is installing the vacuum solution to a ceiling and then using it to hold a board connected to some weights. So what I did is I went ahead and made 3 different boards of this size. One hardwood, so this is poplar. I've got a softwood, cedar, and then I also have MDF, which I want to test the porousness of that against the vacuum suction power. I have a bucket of wood that I weighed to 15 pounds. That's this guy right here, and we'll hook it to the hook and see if it holds. So let's go ahead and turn on the vacuum and we'll get this going. So vacuum is on. It's not coming down. Okay, here is my bucket. And we'll get that on the hook. Okay. That's 15 pounds. Doing just fine. I mean, when you're on the CNC, there's no wiggle room or movement, and I'm trying to move it side to side. Like, that's not coming. I'm gonna worry about taking this beam down before I take this down. All right, let's try the other woods to see if they hold up similar to hardwood, which isn't porous, so it's not gonna let the air through. I'm gonna turn it off. See, that's cool. So I turned off the pump, and the residual pressure or suction is holding it. So even though the pump doesn't have to be on, it's still holding it. Now, if I move it, wow. Okay, if I remove the hose, oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, now we have our chunk of cedar. Again, that's not gonna go anywhere, but let's see. Oh. Okay, now let me turn this off. I'm gonna hold it so I don't. Wow, that's so cool. You know, that happens sometimes. So what was different about it this time, besides being the cedar, and I turned it off so the vacuum pressure wasn't there anymore, the cedar, I haven't had any sanding on it. So this was rough, so it had a little bit more imperfections, more for the air to escape from. Cool, let's try the MDF. So this is actually the one I'm most worried about because of how porous it is. Other solutions actually use MDF as a sacrificial section. So it'll be really interesting to see the clamping pressure of this. So let's turn that on. Yeah. I don't know if I can quite feel the air moving through it, but it feels like, you know how things get colder when air is moving past it? It's kind of what it feels like. Feels solid. So let's give it a shot. Okay. Oh, see, okay, this has a little bit of give. I can slide it. You see that? So MDF with how porous it is, definitely will move around. Let me turn this off. Yeah, and that gave up right away. I heard the actual suction going. So MDF, because of how porous it is, the air is going to go through it a lot easier. So
2 weeks later.
I continued to test the Pendant and the vacuum pods over the next couple weeks, and I did notice one thing with the vacuum pods that I went ahead and changed on my setup. The pump I'm using is just a standard little vacuum pump, so it uses oil. Now, when the air comes through, it goes through the oil to create that vacuum, and as it gets hot, it creates this oil mist. Now, inside of a small garage, it was filling up my garage with this mist, and I don't want to be breathing that, nor do I want it coating everything in the garage. So I went ahead and ordered myself an oilless pump. The pump is one of the 3 pumps that NextWave's has tested and recommends. I found it the cheapest off of Alibaba, so I went ahead and ordered it from there. It took about a week to arrive. My shop is a production shop. I am constantly making and using my CNC, and I use a spoil board as often I'm cutting things out. Though I love the idea of the vacuum pods because I can use it when I'm doing quick V-carves and things as well. So I wanted a solution that didn't require me to take off my spoil board every time I needed to use a vacuum pod. So I found a longer set of screws that matched the same dimension and thread count as the screws that come with the vacuum pods, and I went ahead and got those. You'll see them on the screen right now so that you can order it too if you would like to go ahead and put it over your spoil board. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I got the new Pendant and the vacuum pods, and I've been using them every single day. So what are my initial thoughts? Well, the Pendant is a must buy accessory. If you do not have a Pendant and you already have the HD machine, I highly recommend upgrading to the new Pendant. It has so many features that I use and makes my life a little bit better by using it. It is just so much nicer. From the fact that it speeds up the acceleration, the fact that I can see the file that I'm a preview of the file that I'm going to be cutting, the fact that I can switch between jog and step very easily and do quick, minute movements. It is just a really great addition. The arm is phenomenal. I really like this addition. I can just swing it out when I don't need it. So if you don't have this yet, I do recommend upgrading to it. Now the vacuum pods. Vacuum pods are also really great. I had a couple of things, as we talked about, that I needed to change to make them work for my own setup. That doesn't mean that they don't work well. It's just for my setup, because I'm a production shop and I'm moving things on and off of the MDF all the time. I needed to get those bigger screws. Do I love the vacuum pods? Absolutely. I love the fact that I can just grab a small board, especially if I'm just doing a V-carve, and put it on and it's good to go. I don't have to use clamps. I don't have to worry about double-sided tape and it sliding around, or needing to resurface my MDF, my spoil board, before I move forward. So I do really love that. They're really great. They're a great accessory. For the cost, I would say these are the best that you can buy on the market for getting your hands into a vacuum holding thing, between being able to buy these very inexpensively at NextWave and then either getting a pump off of Amazon, or if you go to AliExpress to get the Oilless as well. Both that vacuum, the whole system is really inexpensive compared to other ones out on the market.
I hope this video helped you decide if you're going to upgrade to the Pendant or the vacuum pods. They're really great products and I do recommend them. If you have any questions, leave me a comment on YouTube or message me on Instagram. A DM is just fine, and I will answer any questions around your setup. So feel free to reach out with any questions. I appreciate you guys watching. I have a new project video coming out next week, my first in my new gumball series, so stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.